Okay, hey guys, hey lovelies. I got another Otome video for you today. And we are talking about Genso Manège, which was recently released in January by PQ Games. And it was released on Steam, which I love. I'm a Steam Deck enjoyer, and it was released on Switch. So I have finished the game. I take a long time to finish games, guys. I usually cannot just like pop out and finish an Otome, especially one this long in a week. Maybe a shorter indie game I could probably finish in a week, but I played too many other games. I have a house to take care of. I have cats to take care of. I don't currently have a job, but usually I have a job. So those are all factors, and I struggle to finish an Otome game. I also usually kind of burn myself out a little bit with reading an Otome game because I'm trying to be like, finish it. And so, yeah. But I have finished and I did pretty good, I think. For me, I did pretty good to finish it. I know some people got the game after me on Twitter and they finished before me. And I was like, damn. Uh, um, so either way, so what we haven't played in the background is just kind of like the opening video because I don't want to spoil any CGs because I know that's one of the big things that people love for Otome games. I'm not going to go into any spoilers because the whole point of a visual novel in a Otome game is for you to read the story, right? So I'm not going into any spoilers. So like how the game is broken up is you have like 8 chapters per guy, and there's a prologue and then chapters 1 through 8. Now there's the prologue, which is everybody. There's the common route for the first 4 chapters, which is everybody, and then chapters 5 through 8 are specific to that love interest. Okay, so what I'm discussing, I'm not going to discuss anything beyond chapter 4. Which, if you're on the fence of getting Genso Manège, you can go play the demo. I know there's a demo on Steam. I'm pretty sure there's a demo on Nintendo Switch, and I believe the demo goes around chapter 3 or 4 of the prologue. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the video. The video does kind of spoil some CGs, but you know, you see it in like the first like couple minutes of starting the game, so not a spoiler technically. So there's the 6 guys. Is it 6 or 5? Okay, so we have love interest, right? We have Hugo, we have Sergei, Crier, Lion, Luciole, and Arnaud. 6. I can count. Okay. We have 6 love interests in this game, which is pretty good, I'll be honest, for me. Getting more than 6 love interests in the game kind of feels like a drag. Like, I loved 9 Rip. Don't get me wrong, I loved that game. But having 9 love interests made it feel like such drag. I'm just gonna play the video over and over so I have something in the background. There's not really a good CG of everybody to put on the screen to show you guys. That's not gonna like be spoilers. So another game that has 9 love eyes is Charade Maniacs, which I started in June of 2024, and it's now February 2025, and I still haven't finished the last 3 of that. So that may get finished soon. But I also have Hanakari to play, so it's gonna have to be after that. Okay, so this game has 6 love interests, which is like 5 to 6 is kind of the sweet spot for me. You know, I will play games with less love interests, right? Because there's like a lot of indie games may have like 2 to 4. So as long as you have, and I'll even play games that just have 1 love interest. I don't mind that either. So I'm pretty flexible, but I don't like it when games get past 6. It's too many. And I feel bad because it's like the game gets too long. And it's not actually necessarily longer. Usually the routes are just shorter. So 6 for me is a good spot of, you have like, what, a 40-hour game to play through, and you're splitting that between 6 guys. If you split between 9, you know, the routes get shorter. So I'm happy with the number of love interests. So let's start with, we have Hugo. He's the guy in purple. He is the director of the Reveille. Maybe I should talk about what the game is first before I talk about the love interest. Okay, Genso Manège. What is Genso Manège? You are playing as the main character. You can customize her name, and I already forgot what her main name is. I think her original name is Emma. I changed it to Adri because that's how I roll. The main character is super cute. She has pink hair and purple eyes. It's more pastel, but you know what? I'm biased. I like pink and purple, so I love the main character. Um, she also has quite a bit. There she is, actually. Oh, look, I started the video at just the right time. Um, so she has quite a bit of, like, you see her personality come out, and she does, I feel like, kind of act a little differently every route, but there's moments where you see her being really strong, and there are moments where I'm like, come on, be stronger. So she's not my favorite main character ever, but whatever. Okay, so you're playing as Emma, the main character. Um, you are a witch, and you live in, I don't know what time frame, France. I don't know if this is like 1700s, 1800s. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not good with timelines or history, guys. Don't hate me. But like electricity is not a super big thing. Now in this world, witches exist and magic is real, and you are a witch and you kind of sort of have magic. You are an orphan. Mom was a witch. Mom died when you were super young, and then dad drowned in a river when you were like 10. And you were also in the accident with him in the river, and you lost like a year of memories. And that's also when like your magic stopped working. And you live with your childhood friend named Arnaud and his parents. And the Reveille, which is like a traveling carnival, right? Comes to the town you guys live in, and you're like, this is so cool, and you want to go see it, and you go by yourself, and you meet all the love interests. And as like you're leaving, the director, Hugo, stops you and is like, hey, you have magic. You can free us. So all the love interests, all the people who work at the Reveille are trapped there by magic. They have like these chains on them that prevent them from leaving. Like they can't step so far outside of the Reveille boundaries. The exception is Crier. Crier is there. I'm not going to explain why, because that's part of his route, but Crier is there of his own volition as a performer. He is not trapped like the others. So yeah, so that's kind of the gist. And because you're just like a good-natured person, you 100% agree to help these strangers and free them from the Reveille. And you start working there to help out around the park as you also practice your magic every day with the hopes of setting them free. So that's kind of like the basic gist. That's what you figure out in the first like 30 minutes. So as you're working at the park, you get to work with all the love interests. So let's talk about the love interests and get back to that, because that's the part that matters, right? Right. It's the guys. It's the men. We like the men. So you have the director, Hugo, the purple guy. He's the director of Reveille. He's like 7 years older than you. So if you're, you know what? When I was in high school, this age gap, I would have loved like crazy. Now that I'm older, the age gaps are kind of like, make me go a little ew. But it's a novel, so I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, Hugo's like 7 years older than you. Also, apparently, and this is, shown in the prologue, Hugo knew you when you were younger. So that year of memories you lost in that time span, you actually met Hugo before. So, it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. You have a connection, right? Somehow, but you don't remember it. So that's kind of sad. But he's the director. He's older. He is the leader of the Reveille. He's very mature. He's very kind. He's very professional. He's also quite flirty, which I liked quite a bit. Hugo was my favorite. Hugo was number one for me. Hugo is also the route the devs recommend to play first. His route does answer a lot of questions. It doesn't answer all of the questions, but his route does answer a lot of questions. And after playing the game, I do kind of actually understand why the devs recommend playing Hugo first, because there's kind of this big reveal in the way it's presented in Hugo's route versus the other routes. Kind of from my perspective, I'm like, I kind of agree with actually playing Hugo first. So his route answers a lot of questions. And once you do his route, you unlock Arnaud's route. Arnaud is your childhood friend. Now his route answers all of the questions. I mean, it's like the locked route. That's usually how locked routes go, right? So I actually, for Arnaud, I kind of recommend putting him at the end saving him for last. I played him second because I found him very appealing, just like design was. Arnaud is the guy with red hair. He kind of looks like Sherlock Holmes a little bit to me. He's giving me that vibes, right? Um, I'm a sucker for childhood friend stories. Like in Love and Deep Space, I'm losing my mind over Caleb. That's kind of just like, I like that little trope. I also like yanderes. There are no yanderes in this game. Um, I played Arnaud second. So when I went into everyone else's route, I had most of the spoilers already. So don't quite recommend doing that order, but like, look at him. He's gorgeous. So Arnaud is second for me. So Arnaud is your childhood friend. You live with him. Now childhood friend is like you guys met when you were 10. So that year of memories where you met Arnaud is gone. So kind of like when you move in with Arnaud after losing your dad, you kind of just essentially moved in with a bunch of strangers. I mean, you're 10, so it's not like much of that was up to your own control. But you do live with Arnaud and his mom. His dad lives in Paris, so his dad doesn't live with you guys. And his mom is basically your second mom, and she loves you. And her name is Alice, I believe. The dad's name, I believe, is Daniel, if I remember correctly. Um, Daniel, you really don't see very much until you get to Arnaud's route. But you see Alice in all the routes, and in the prologue, she is super nice and kind, and she's just so loving. It's so sweet. Obviously, she's incredibly biased. She would love for you to marry her son, but she just genuinely wants you to, you know, have a life and have a good life and be happy. So that was nice seeing like a supported mother role in the game. Arnaud is a journalist. He is not in the military like his dad. So he's doing stories and stuff, and that's kind of how you get to see him in the game a little bit, is he's doing stories for the newspaper on the Reveille, on the amusement park, because it's like, you know, big news in town, right? Oh, yeah, this is gonna be a longer video, guys. And I'm always like congested, so breathing through my nose is so hard. It's like I gotta slow down a little bit and think and breathe and get oxygen so my mind works and I don't do dumb things and say dumb things. Okay, back to the review. Focusing. Okay, so Arnaud. Arnaud is a journalist. Arnaud is very friendly. He's very sweet. He's very loving. It's very obvious he loves you, and the main character has like no idea, and it's hilarious. I'm dying. I kind of love that trope too. It's just it's over her head. She has no idea that he's been in love with her for like ever. It's such a trope. I love it. And there's also in his route you kind of see where he can be a little overprotective. Maybe like, you know, he's not a yandere. He's not like Toma or Caleb. I kind of see the potential there, and I kind of wish they had kind of took it that way with his route. But he doesn't go into like full yandere mode. But he is pretty overprotective. Like he wants you to have a good life. He wants you to be happy, preferably with him. But he does like genuinely care about you, and that's very obvious from the get-go. So I liked his route a lot. It answers all of your questions. Again, should probably save for the last one. So Arnaud for me is second. Again, like I didn't like his character design as much as I like Hugo's. I very much like purple. Red is still good. And Arnaud kind of reminds me a little bit of it's kind of like Akaza from Olympia Soares, because like Akaza might be Akaza. It's been a long time since I played that game, but the red-haired guy in Olympia Soares, that is the locked route. And like in all the other routes, he's basically kind of watching over you, trying to help you find a husband, right? Arnaud kind of plays that role. Obviously, he's not really trying to help you find a husband, but he's kind of acting a little bit as your protector, and he's kind of your guardian too. And then also like the locked route and the red hair, I kind of see the similarities. Okay, that's not about Arnaud. We got like 4 more to get through. Okay, next one I played was Sergei. So Sergey is a black-haired guy with glasses. He is, I call him an accountant. He does the books for the Reveille. He does the budget. He's also Hugo's right-hand man. So it's kind of, see, they kind of have a little bit of a bromance. Sergey is older than Hugo. I believe Sergey is like 10 years older than you, which is quite an age gap. Good thing. This is a game. He's kind of cold, a little bit distant. He's pretty direct about stuff, but he kind of reminds me of like that stereotypical, like, I'm allowed to say this because I'm an engineer. I went to college for engineering. Okay, I'm allowed to say this. He reminds me of like those stereotypical engineers that have like, are just very direct and don't know how to socialize super great. So like sometimes he says stuff that's a little bit too direct, or he says things that come across as mean, and that's not really what he's intended to. On the inside, Sergey is actually a nice guy. He's just very direct and sometimes says stuff a little sharply. Doesn't really bother me. I'm usually a pretty direct person, so it's like, whatever. But yeah, I did kind of find it amusing that the accountant is like very direct. He's very logical. His route was really good. His route, I really liked. So Sergey is number 3 for me. He has a pretty interesting background, which I can't explain to you. Spoilers. And okay, so Sergey, who did I like after Sergey? Next one is Luciole. Luciole is the green-haired guy. He is the engineer of the Reveille, so he takes care of the park, because to some degree, even though the park is magic and everyone's bound to it by magic, it's still, you have to take care of like the mechanical parts to some degree, and they still have to fix it. So he is the engineer. He takes care of the rides and the automatons, and he's pretty aloof. He kind of reminds me of a cat, which while playing this game, I got 2 cats, and he reminds me of them because he's very much kind of a loner. He doesn't talk a lot, and he hides a lot. So like during the day, he's usually hiding in his tent. He does his maintenance stuff at night. So in the prologue, I don't feel like you really saw him very much because he just wasn't around. So he's not very social. I liked his character design a lot. I actually thought I would like him more than Sergey, but Sergey's route did kind of beat out Luciole's. So Luciole is for some reason able to see magic. It is explained why in his route, which is why I'm not going to mention it because spoilers. But he can see magic, right? And so he can kind of gauge like how you're doing. I liked his route a lot. I feel like I'm saying that for all the routes. Okay. He still falls in 1, 2, 3, 4th place. Okay, he comes after Sergey. There's a little bit, I guess I haven't been talking about, no, never mind. That'll come later. But Luciole's route. Luciole is kind of like a cat. Like, he doesn't really want to do anything with you. He's like, ugh. He's like, whatever. But you kind of like, you approach him slowly and just kind of like hang out or near him, around him, just so he gets used to your presence. And then he starts to want to interact with you, which is exactly what I had to do with my 2 cats I got. So, he reminds me of a cat. And like, once he likes you, and he loves you, and he wants to be around you. He's very cat-like. He is my cat man. So his route was super cute. And he also, so he was kind of my best hope for Yandere, because once he like falls in love, he wants to protect you and take care of you. And I could totally see him putting you in a cage like Toma, right? They don't quite go that full. Like, I really wouldn't call him a Yandere. They don't go that far into the trope for it, but he has the potential there. I'm like, more so, like even more so than Arnaud. I could totally see Luciole like locking you somewhere to keep you from everyone else. So yeah, he was pretty fun. Um, okay, Luciole. Who comes after Luciole? We'll talk about Crier. So, Crier for me goes in fifth place. Crier is a little short, blonde-haired guy. He is the same age as you, so he is probably actually the most appropriate relationship out of all of the options. Him, Lion, and Arnaud are all like the same age as you. Luciole, I don't remember how old he is. So Crier is the same age as you. I mean, he's more mature than you expect from like a 17-year-old guy. Okay, right? Um, but Crier is the performer of the park, so he knows how to juggle and put on shows and do magic tricks for people that come to the park. So he puts on multiple shows a day and he's constantly practicing. You see that he's very much a dedicated individual. He is not trapped in the reveille. He is there of his own free will. His route does explain why. Um, Design wise, I was kind of like, eh. I thought he was kind of boring design wise. I'm not like, he kind of has like blonde hair, and like for me the guys with the purple hair and the green hair are automatically more interesting than the guy with the blonde hair. um Crier's route is very romantic though, and I love romance, so I really liked Crier's route a lot more than I thought. He's still getting like fifth place, just because I like the other guys more. But if like all the other guys, I feel like the romance is not there as much. It's more about the mystery and it's more like slow burn romance. Whereas Crier, you're kind of just thrown into the romance and it's kind of tropey and it's like super adorable and I love it. I very much enjoyed his route more than I thought I would. Okay. So, um, so if you're on the fence about him, like his route's good. I thought it was good. Does it answer as many questions as the others? No, not necessarily. So I think Crier is actually a pretty good route to do second. Um, but Crier is a little bit kind of like Luciole, and like he's kind of cold a little bit to you. Like he really doesn't care about you, and is like whatever if you're being forced to work with him. Um, But then there's also moments where he's like really super nice. Like when you guys are talking about sweets and stuff in the common route, like he's very nice and friendly there. So he's kind of like, I don't want to worry about you. I don't really care. It's whatever. And he warms up to you pretty quickly. He's also super cute. He blushes a lot and you blush a lot. So it's very entertaining just to see the two of you just blush like crazy because you are two teenage dweebs. Um, So his route was super fun. It was better than I expected. And anything else to say about Crier? We can go ahead and move on to Lion. So the last route is Lion. This is the guy in the bunny suit that in like the common route, you don't really, he's in a bunny suit. It's like, what's going on there? Okay. You see him eat in the bunny suit. It's not entirely clear how it's possible, but he picks up food and he puts it in the bunny suit mouth and he's able to eat it. It's not entirely clear what's going on there. So Lion's route was my least favorite. I just personally found Lion a little boring. He's very nice. He's very sweet. Well, shoot. I'm not going to be able to get back to the video without spoiling all the CJs for Hugo. So we're going to chill here for the rest of the video. I'll try to end quicker than I planned. Whoops, I'm not re-recording this, guys. I've already talked too long. So if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Okay, Lion. Lion's the guy in the bun suit. He's very sweet. He's very loving. He's like a little bit younger than you, but pretty close to the same age. Blonde hair. Once you do get to see him outside of the bunny suit, and you kind of see him in the prologue a little bit. I'm assuming you are able to connect the dots in the prologue. So it does get explained why he's in the bunny suit, because like no one else is in the bunny suit, and everyone's like, we've never seen him out of the bunny suit. So that does get explained why. His route is a little bit more on the tragic side. I'll be real honest, guys. I'll talk about that a little bit more once we get past the guys. But he's very sweet and loving, and I don't know. I didn't find his personality particularly memorable. I remember what happened in his route, but if you ask me to describe what Lion is like, I'm like, oh, he's sweet, he's kind. Um, and there's kind of a good reason for why he kind of has a blank Warren personality that does kind of get explained in the route, and it does make sense. But even like later on, it's like, eh. So Lion really wasn't for me, which is I expected to like him better than Crier because I was very interested in like why the fun suit. Um, but no. So a route order that I would recommend, I would actually start with Hugo. I actually kind of agree with the devs on that. I would do Crier. Um, Probably then Luciole. Let's see. Sergey, Lion. Oh no, actually, I'd probably so Hugo, Crier, Luciole, Lion, Sergey, and then Arnaud. That would be the order I would play in to kind of make the most sense of kind of ramping up spoilers. I would recommend leaving Arnaud to the end. And then once you do everyone's route, you kind of get this denouement ending. It's like another ending. It was actually probably my favorite ending, and you'll understand why. It's pretty fun. So all the guys have two ends. They have the more end, which is the love end, the good end, and then they have the reveille end, which is the bad end. It's quite a mix of what like how bad those bad ends are. There's nothing like there's no sexual assault or anything like that in this game, so no worries about that. But you know, some care and some endings people die, and then some endings are just kind of like bittersweet and not so bad. So, there are no like other endings. It's just two for each guy. So it's pretty easy to get through the game. You probably really don't need a guide, but you know, is what it is. Um, and then once you do the more ending for each guy, you can go to the special section and there's like a little character profile page and like a couple like scenes from him of like 30 seconds long and like some comments from the voice actor, and then there's an after story that you can play through. And the after story does have a CG in it, so if you want to complete the CG library, you gotta go do the after stories, which the after stories do kind of fluctuate in like cuteness. Some of them get a little bit spicier, not as spicy as I would like, but a little bit more on the spicy side. Okay, so overall the guys' routes. Overall, Genso Manège is, from my perspective, a pretty fluffy visual novel. Fluffy as in like you're not gonna be crying the entire time. There are some moments like Hugo Arnaud's, everyone's route has some tragic moments in it and kind of varies in degree. I think Lion's route is kind of the most tragic. Hugo is probably next after that. Sergey after him, and then Arnaud somewhere in the middle. Like Lion's route, I will admit, I almost cried on. I'm not gonna lie. But while like Hugo and some of the others had tragic, they weren't quite like that bad to make me super duper sad and upset or anything like that. So this is not like it's not a terribly tragic game, but it does have tragic moments. But for the most part, most of the story is kind of on the light and fluffy side. Art wise, love the art. I love the vibes. The UI screen, I feel like could be a little bit better. Like I feel like, for example, Cupid Parasite had more interest in like menu and UI screen. I'm like I do appreciate that all the guys are on this screen though. Like I will say that. But I kind of would like it more if it was more pastel. Now it kind of does fit the theme, right? The UI right here. So whatever. Overall, the game, like the art, CGs are good. I kind of do wish there were more CGs. I haven't counted. I don't have time, but I kind of do want to go through like my Otome games and kind of like count the number of CGs per game and like see where we're trending because it does feel like it's less and less. But I don't know. I could just be like, I don't know, making stuff up. So I kind of wish there was more CGs, but I do feel like there's a pretty good amount. Okay. Art's wonderful, very pastel everywhere. I love the pastel colors, the purple everywhere, the pink everywhere. It's very much like color-wise, it's very much a game for me. The guys look great. Usually they have a front sprite and they have a back facing sprite too, so I like that too. Most of the NPC characters have sprites like Clara. Clara's around quite a bit. Madame Alice is around quite a bit. Munzro, Daniel, Arnaud's dad, and then there's another NPC named Giles. They all have sprites, and then for like the random soldiers, they have like soldier sprites with like little black space over the eyes instead of showing eyes. So like everyone has a sprite. So I do fair like good quality. Okay, good quality. What else do I want to say about this? Voice acting. It's voice acting. I mean, it's in Japanese. I don't care. I don't know Japanese. It's kind of funny. I majored in it in school, but I don't know it. I don't understand it anymore. So I don't listen to the voices. I just read the text and try to get through the game as fast as possible. So that's not a big thing for me. And even if I could, like, even if I did listen, like, I don't know if it's good voice acting or not. I have no idea. I can only really judge it if it's in English, if I'm gonna be honest. So, so that's really like, I don't care about the voice actors that are used in the game. So if you're looking for that, sorry. Um, I assume they're good. I have no idea though. The music is pretty nice. It fits the theme. Again, I really don't care about the sound in the visual novel. I kind of treat visual novels more like books with pretty pictures. So, and like a choose your own adventure book with a focus on romancing and getting with hot guys. So, as long as like the art looks good and the story is good, I'm a happy camper. So, I think I came around like 40 hours. Now, some of that does have to be taken into account, like me recording videos, right, for all the different routes. So maybe closer to like 38 hours, 37 hours to complete the game. The game is costs like $40 at the moment. So it doesn't quite 100% meet my like dollar, you know, dollar spent. I want to get an hour. But considering I'm also doing like recording videos and stuff like that, I did make it to 40. So I'm kind of going to give it a pass. And also, it's close enough. And it's also like if I really enjoy a game, I don't focus as much on the dollar per hour unless it's just something egregious. So, like, for example, if this game was $40 and it only took like 10 hours, 20 hours to complete, then I'd be upset over like, spending $40 on it. But since it's like, 35 plus hours, like, I don't feel like if you buy it brand new, right? If you're paying the full price for it, I don't feel like you're wasting your money. So you get a good time investment for this game. So overall, do I recommend this game? Yes, I do. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's long. Um, you have options, Steam and Switch. I absolutely love it when Otome games come to Steam because so I can play on my Steam Deck. And also, so I don't have to worry about when we get whatever comes after the Switch 2, that they're just going to re-release the game on that console. So that is kind of my gripe with like buying Otomes on consoles. As much as I love it, like we keep getting games re-released, right? So we got Hakuoki on Switch. God, Hakuoki's horrendous, right? Hakuoki was PSP, 3DS, PS3, PSV, or yeah, PS Vita, sorry, Steam, and then I guess an updated translation version came out on Switch a couple years ago. And maybe was it last year or a couple years ago? I don't remember anymore. But like that baby's been ported everywhere. Or like Code Realize was PS Vita and PS4 and Switch. And they brought over Calar X Malice to Switch and Norn to Switch. So personally, I like the fact that like I got 7 Scarlet on Steam when it came out years ago, and I feel no need to buy it again on Switch. I may buy it again on Switch just to like support Otome devs, right? But I prefer that they bring games to Steam. Now I understand why a lot of companies don't, because they may or may not sell as well on Steam. And then also like you have to port the game from being made on Nintendo Switch to Steam, which I'm assuming takes some effort. P-Cube has been doing great on that. All their games come to Switch and Steam. So like they are kind of becoming my favorite indie not indie. What am I saying? They're becoming my favorite Otome, like, publisher, translator. I guess publisher is the right word. I don't know. I don't do words well sometimes. So they are quickly become my favorite because every release comes to Steam, and I just prefer it, right? Um, so yeah, the game is worth it. It's fun. It's a great fun time. If you're looking for something spicier, this is not something spicy. But even though it's not spicy, you can still enjoy it. Okay. Um, I think I've said all I've wanted to say, guys. I would love to know if you got the game. Who was your favorite? My favorite was Hugo. Um, I love Arnaud. I really do. Hugo and Arnaud are almost tied, but like Hugo being purple and an older guy kind of wins it. I'm a sucker for older guys, I'll be honest. Uh, kind of just like wins me over, purple and older and tall. Um, but I love to know, like, are you gonna get the game? Or are you gonna wait for it to go on sale? Who are you most interested in? Did anyone surprise you with like how much you like them? Like, did you go in thinking that you're gonna love Luciole and then you ended up loving Sergey more? Love to hear your thoughts, guys. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and bye-bye.